flour on everything.
I'm just one of the crew. Oh, it's 5 a.m. here, tragically dipped. Thought maybe we'd do a mic check, but I'll let you get your coffee first.
Sure. All right.
Good morning. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Look, found a mic.
Check.
Look at him go in there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Mike Frampton. No, yeah. I'm like, wait, no?
I didn't mean to.
This is our first cup of coffee. No, it's my first cup of coffee.
Yeah, I run.
Yeah, I was like, you run all day. You've been working since
That's the
midnight?
fuel for the night. So
good. That is so good. What coffee is this? Is this the Rapids?
This is Rapids, yeah.
Oh, it's like a nutty undertone to all.
When we started when I was making donuts in my house, this is my little hobby, I started thinking about something like this, and Daniel had just opened the roastery at the time. So I was like, hey, can we talk about this? And then so Daniel makes us donut lovers for all our drip.
So is it special just to you?
Yeah, you can only get it here.
What?
Yeah. So it's super cool to have like a coffee guy.
Oh, it is cool.
And he's really
your own brand.
We're pushing coffee in Peterborough. It should be Peterborough roasted.
Yeah, I would agree.
So you should support the local roasters if you
Is it true that you used to run the donut shop out of your house and people would line up around the block?
No, they lined up here when I first opened, which was intimidating. I wasn't expecting I was definitely not expecting the people that showed up. I sold out in the first hour.
Oh.
And I was like, and then for a while it was like one box only because people were trying to clear us out and stuff.
Oh my god.
It was ridiculous. And now it's just, we've settled in. You have like the old guy that reads the paper every day. We had exactly what I wanted it to be, like the downtown. We're doing art crawls and we're doing supporting local artists, and it's exactly what I want. I'm selling donuts and doing exactly what I want to do, but I have this like community now, which is nice.
I was going to say, bringing the community
which I didn't
together.
have before because I was always on the road traveling around everywhere. So I was just like mostly by myself or with another person. But yeah, I burnt out of a career pretty heavily. And then this is kind of what happened after. So.
Donuts make happiness.
Yeah, I have a Death to Donuts.
Oh my god!
Yeah, because I was a death cleaner before this.
Right.
So I was like, let's just lean into that one, and yeah. So.
Can we show your tattoo on the camera? He has a tattoo. Look at that.
I got a
Death to Donuts.
Yeah. So I struggled with like PTSD and stuff, and then I decided to chase my happy place, which was donuts. I was making donuts on the side to like just have something that was positive because everything else was not positive. This place, I mean, it's let me be in my community. It let me sober up. It let me, have like coffee guy friend and like people that come by regularly that I get to be friends with and stuff. We were running all the time, and it wasn't ever going to get nice. It was always negative. So it was like, I'll do something. I'll do something positive, and maybe this will be a thing. So it's been really good. It would be nice if we were busier, all the time.
Fair,
but like, it does this.
Yeah.
And we just have to kind of ride it out and figure it out. And it's new to me. I don't know how to.
Right. Are we year 2 now?
Yeah.
It's year 2.
April 13th or something.
All right. So. Should we jump in, Mike?
Yeah, we can start. We can start cooking. And I'll get some donuts going, and then we can.
Oh, we're gonna make
figure
some
out
donuts.
The next step.
Donut. Yeah. What are you making? What are these right now?
Our Bostons have changed to chocolate pastry cream inside it, and then the other one will get either jelly. I can't eat my donuts because I have like I'm gluten intolerant.
That's why you do the gluten-free, and you do gluten-free really well.
Yeah, the cruller seems to be the one that works the best.
I cannot express what it smells like in here. It's like cinnamon, happiness. I don't know. I smell it all. Vanilla.
That's the thing. Like chasing the happy thing has good happy smells.
Yes.
So, but like I love it here now because I get to see. People go through some bad stuff, but for the most part, I see like community coming together, people enjoying each other, sitting with we get a mom and a daughter came in because one had a peanut allergy, so had never had a donut, And she's like 19 and coming from university. And they had like this mother-daughter donut date. And then after had to come tell me, they're like, listen, we can't have donuts because everyone puts nuts in everything.
Oh my gosh.
And she's like, you let us have this date. We drove from Ottawa
No way.
to have a donut date. And I was like, that's the best thing ever. I was like, that's the best.
Yeah, that's the joy. Yeah.
And like the people down here are great. We just lost one. He lived across the street.
Oh.
He was the most eccentric person I've ever met. He had top hat Fridays where he would old century top hats. And I was like, did I just see Brian in a top hat? And Joel's like, every Friday.
Oh my gosh.
Like he was just a weird, took pictures of sunsets and moons and
just a special guy.
he was like super eccentric dude. But I love meeting all these like local.
Yeah.
He'd been there since '67 or something. I was always seeing like the negative stuff, so I wouldn't necessarily meet anybody.
Right.
All my stuff was death based, so
Right.
I'm alone.
Yeah.
Right? So now that I'm meeting people that are alive, it's like, oh, cool, this guy's neat. You know,
I can talk to my clients now.
Before I'd appreciate them for like the environment they created for themselves.
Right.
And now I get to appreciate the person, which is cool. I like it a lot. It's really
love.
neat. So,
I get to cut vegan donuts. Yes. Do I need to put a hairnet on, sir?
you can. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Of course I
You
will.
need one or have it.
I packed my own. No, I'm just kidding. He gave this to me. Oh, I feel honored. I feel like not a lot of people get to be in the kitchen with you. You know what? That doesn't look bad at all. I feel like a professor. I touched it. I gotta wash my hands again. The doctor is in. The dough doctor.
That's it. If this is what you enjoy doing,
That's
no one's gonna do it
ultimately,
for you.
yeah.
So basically, I just cover the top with dough, and then what we'll do is we'll roll it. I basically just roll it out. I'll let you do it, but basically just roll it out. It would be about that big.
Okay.
And then this side we'll do a little bit thinner than this side because it's going to be the filled donuts.
Oh my God.
And then the middle we'll do the twisted because the dough likes to stretch itself.
Right.
And I found that seems to be good.
Neat. I'm almost scared to overwork it.
Yeah, you're
just,
good. So you just kind of, we'll work it.
Look at you.
So I usually just pull it out. So yeah, you can just, just roll it out.
Did anybody in your family make donuts?
I've always wanted to own a diner since I was like a little kid, which is such a stupid thing.
No.
Like, there's no money in that. But I remember watching like the people make bacon and eggs when I was a little kid, and I'm like, man, that's such a cool gig. And then when I was on the road as an adult working, I always stopped in the greasy like mom and pops, greasy spoons.
Yeah.
And every city I worked in, I had like a spot that I went for my breakfast or coffee.
Do you want that thinner on that side?
Yeah, this is pretty good.
Well, I was kind of a little nervous to mess with your dough, Mike.
Yeah, it's all good. So this will be our filled side. So that's this guy.
Cool.
And then right where that line is, we'll make the twist out of that. Just let that sit for a second so it takes the slack out of it.
Do you have business owners in your family?
I mean, like maybe a cousin or something like that. Mom and dad worked mom worked as a baker at Superstore, and then dad worked in like big industries. They were very hardworking people. I knew that I was like, I can't do that. I can't go and sit at a desk. And I watched them work so hard. At that, I'm like, okay. The first thing I chased was obscure and weird, right? And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm going to go clean up dead people. And they're like, what? And then they watched me do that for 14 years.
Holy, that's a heavy career.
It was too long. It was too long. It was like 5 years too long,
Wow.
Like looking back at it, like I had good support at work. It was like the owner of the company was really, really good to me. Still is. I talk to him like a lot. But even he was good to me to get through stuff.
Right.
But I still drank too much and,
This is how you cut a round. Oh my God, I get to cut a donut.
So if you go straight down that line, that'll be our twist. And I'll go grab a sheet tray.
Okay, cool. Oh my God, I'm cutting donuts.
Lap your... Yeah. So
I see, get the full
Or you'll take
circle.
like a big bite out of it.
Oh, got it. Yeah, what do you do with your leftover dough?
So I make bread for grilled cheese. Making bread, I want to do more of it. We make breakfast buns for our breakfast sandwich. We have like bacon, egg, and cheese
Look how fast you are.
Which is, sorry. I was going to let you do it, but I'm just helping out. You would pop the whole out of the middle, and then I grab these, for these ones, I grab these two ends and twist it twice and just give it a little pull, and then that's your twist.
Oh my God, I'm making donuts.
Like, this isn't a perfect science. If it's too cold back here, the dough's slower. If it's too hot, the dough's faster. If I mess something up, then I lose a batch. Or if I'm late, if I show up late, everything's late.
Oh my God.
You know, so it's like, I'm doing my best to be accountable to me and show up for me, which also makes the donuts
So a lot of pressure for you?
I mean, I love this. This is my favorite thing. It's like,
you're just
there's
so
no
happy.
offense, but if you weren't here, imagine how
fast you would be going.
No, imagine how quiet. It's just like you just like put a dough and you just, you know, nice and chill. And for me, before, there was a lot of pressure because I was always dealing with grieving families.
Oh
and
my gosh,
You know, I'm really trying to do my best job because I don't want you to ever find something, because that's why you hired me in the first place.
Right.
So I need to make sure everything's very well disinfected and there's no like biohazards left behind. And so that kind of thing used to stress me out, or just even being around that like sadness all the time.
Oh yeah.
This is just donuts. You could throw all these on the floor right now and I'd be like, what the hell was that? But like, I'm not, it's just donuts. And so it's like, and I might have to tell a couple people on a Sunday morning, like Tiffany threw the donuts on the ground, but like, it's nice that it isn't a stressful thing. Bills are absolutely dependent on these things. So 100%. I want them to be perfect. I want people to love them so they come back so I can pay my bills, because like, I'll tell you, I didn't know how much donuts were going to cost to make.
No doubt.
And it's not material cost. And I'm not paying myself yet, so it's not my, you know, it's not me. It's like, you know, rent and electrical and gas and oil and all this stuff adds up. And you're like, oh, I have to make $10,000 worth of donuts this month? What are we doing? Like, it's crazy. But then it's like, oh no, this is business, and you just keep.
I'm doing this right? Or
yeah, you're
supposed
doing great.
To twist these? Okay.
You know, this is business, and just hustle and do your best and make it as nice as you can. I think people, I don't know, they've been really supportive of me, and a lot of people know my story. It's been really cool since I did a couple of podcasts. I have people coming in now because of the podcast, not because of the donuts. And they're like, hey, I saw you on this. I just want to come and say, hey. That's happened 4 times this month.
No way.
And I'm like, this is the coolest.
That's where it's at.
The coolest.
100%.
Yeah, because I reached out when I first sobered up, and I was to my favorite comic, who I had been listening to literally the entire time I cleaned up the day.
Wow.
So I'm like, I don't think he realizes how special he is to me.
What he did to,
But like, I was like, dude, you got me through some days.
Wow.
And so I got the chance to talk to him, and his name's Ryan Sickler. And I got to talk to him and tell my story, and his fan base like grasped on. I was like, this guy, we like him. And he calls me the Death Janitor.
The Death Janitor.
And then like the next year, I was one of the top 10 guests of the year, and I was like, and so I messaged again. I was like, you want to do a second one? And then that turned into a third one, and now I've booked a fourth one. And I'm like, what is happening? It was like, I was trying to explain to my dad. I was like, listen, this is like if you got to talk like, I don't know, to John Candy on repeat.
If Robin Williams,
like, you're sitting down for an hour and a half with your favorite comic, and talking about your trauma, because that's his whole show.
Right.
Highlight the lowlights, which is why I do so well on a show like that. So it was like, this is the coolest opportunity for me. And now I'm meeting people. I met a body remover from Lindsay. I met a guy from Toronto on the weekend who was like, dude, best episodes. I was like, thanks, man. I appreciate that. He's like, I just thought I'd come down and get some donuts and check you out. I'm like, that's really cool. Thanks, dude. We can just push it kind of against that back wall for now. And then these guys will sit here for a half an hour.
God, this is cool.
And then we'll cook them like the last ones. And
all right, sweet.
Just gonna warm that back up, and
awesome.
We can start decorating if you want. Business owners in my family would have been the opposite of business owner. They would have been like, what are you doing? Stop screwing around.
Right.
You know, like go get to work.
Yeah.
You know? So they have, dad comes wash the dishes. Mom, like, everyone's been very supportive.
Gosh.
They've all been very supportive, but I still think, just like the death cleaning, they think it's fucking nuts. days.
Right.
They think I'm nuts. And I'm like, yeah, I am a little nuts.
Yeah, we all have
I was
to be.
like, but like that's what it's gonna take.
That's what dreamers do. Yeah,
so
right?
I was like, maybe it is stupid to want to make donuts. I'm gonna go make donuts.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's been nice to see that they're supportive of it, but I think they think it's like a little crazy. I don't know who taught us to not have ideas
and not dream, right?
And
Like,
it's like,
taught
well,
us to be small.
why can't I go do the thing I want to do? You know, we're making donuts. Like it's like because before it wasn't gonna happen.
Right.
In my head, it was like, oh, you're not making.
Yeah.
Not.
Until we envision it, right? What are you making?
This will be our honey dip.
Oh, he's making glazed dip, honey dip. Is that?
Yeah, that's a honey dip. Yes.
When I dip, you dip, we dip.
And
Chase the joy. That's what. Yeah.
And then watching other people, like you said, our age, chase the thing that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this guy's doing this. This guy's doing that. This person. Like you said, with the imposter syndrome, it's like I still think my donuts suck, but I've never eaten one. So what do I know? And it's like, what are you doing making donuts just every day? And I love it. And the idea that I could make donuts every day is such a cool thought.
Why donuts? Like, well, do you remember the first batch that you made? Oh, it was a diner. Yeah.
But I do remember the first batch I made because I cried through the whole thing. Not because of the donuts. Not because of the donuts. But it was the Gord Downey memorial thing where they had all the music going on because he had passed away, and then they had this like thing. And I wanted to go be a cop because I thought policing was going to be a smart choice for someone with severe PTSD. I thought that was going to be a smart choice to try to get into. So I did all the testing and I did well at it, and I was going through interviews. Thank goodness I didn't get that job at that time because I never would have sobered up.
Holy Hannah.
I just would have been going into another thing that causes more PTSD.
Yeah.
Although maybe better supported because there's a group of people dealing with hard things.
Right.
Whereas before I'd see them and be like, hey, and then now I'm by myself.
Right.
And so it was like, I really like the idea of like teamwork and community and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, well, I have that here. I have my community here. I don't need it to be this crazy aggressive thing.
No.
I don't need to chase this like, just go do the thing you're passionate about. And it's not policing, it's donuts.
Yeah.
And so on the way home from my very last police test, I went to Daddy-O Donut in Mississauga because that's where the test was. And I had the most expensive, not my favorite donut. And I'm like, I can do better than this. And I went to Walmart on the way home and bought like the little fryer. And that night I stayed up all night and I made the worst batch of donuts. I tested them on my wife. I'm like, huh? And she's like, you know, and then we back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm proofing it in my oven with like hot water underneath it. And then I built a commercial kitchen with a proofer in the back of my house, but I wasn't allowed to do that.
Right.
And then every Friday I made a batch of donuts, but it was like my quiet place after a week of work.
Oh.
And so it was like the only positive I was getting. The only like, these are great, good job was the donuts. Right, because everything else, I'm not seeing people on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
So I'm by myself a lot, and then I get to talk to my friends in this way.
Yeah.
Like, this is neat. And then so a lot of people watch me try to figure this out. And so now I have to just stop and pause sometimes and be like, you're doing the thing, just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And then it'll build, or it won't, but if it can maintain, and we can pay me one day, great. But like, at least I'm where I want to be. And that's a really good start. And then I can figure it out from here. But I didn't have this 2 years ago. And then 2 years before that, like, I just have to be patient and look back and be like, oh, look at this guy, you know, versus this guy, you know, like it's progressing at such a high speed, but I didn't realize until you stop and like, oh, you know, like my PTSD is getting better and I'm sober and I have a donut shop that I have a book somewhere where I drew what I wanted down. I was like, this is where my table's going to go, and this is where my coffee machine's going to go. And then it was like a conversation with Daniel. And then I drove to Montreal and picked up that coffee machine because it was cheap. And he was like, I was going to open a thing, but the pandemic. And I was like, okay,
wow.
It's like a $6,000 coffee machine. I was like, I had this like coffee shop in the back of my house, you know, with these machines hooked up. And I'm just like working away, and my neighbor's like, what is this guy doing? Because my whole neighborhood just reeked like donuts. And I'd be like, hey, Brad,
it's like
here's
it's
some
not
donuts.
a meth lab.
No, because it smells like maple dip, you know? Like, and so they're just like, what are you doing in there? I'm like, oh, I'm making Friday donuts.
Oh, my God.
And then, so, like, the neighbors are getting donuts, and my friends are getting donuts, and, like, then people pop up like, hey, I heard you make donuts. Like, from who? I had an Instagram account.
It totally was spreading, and I remember like hearing the undercurrent of the donut guy.
You can't get them because I'll get in trouble.
That's what people were saying. You can't get them.
These are illegal underground donuts.
They're gorilla donuts.
That's right. But that's where, sometimes it has to start in your garage.
It has to start in your garage, yeah. So,
that's what they did with Amazon.
Yeah,
so I'm going to do with donuts.
That's what I'm doing now. If anybody could see my setup right now.
People think it takes this like huge setup to do your thing, but it's like, no, you know what you need to do, the thing you want to do. Just start there and then get the fancy thing.
Yeah.
Get the fancy equipment, get the fancy, you don't need it right now. You
just build to it.
You need it in a week or two. It was so fun to learn like what, because I'm not a baker. I'm a death cleaner.
Oh my God.
Right? So, but I built the skills while I was building these at home.
That's how you learn, yeah.
Are the cinnamon twists first.
Okay.
And you're going to get just cinnamoned around, and you can just throw them on that sheet if you want.
That's so cool.
Do like this.
All right.
And like that's it.
And she's done. All right.
Let me just line them up and throw them on.
We can do that.
Yeah, a lot of the, I guess it's all of the women in my family and friend group kind of gave me the food passion, right? Because like the guys weren't cooking.
No.
Dad would make craft dinner,
Oh, fair.
If he had
my
to do
dad wasn't
Sunday lunch, we can do grilled cheese with those like hot dog roll-ups.
Oh my God, yeah. Did you ever do the pie iron ones where you make a sandwich, you put the hot dogs in it?
That might be a little fancy. I don't know. My dad would be like, that's too gourmet.
Too much.
He popped the Pillsbury thing open and unrolled it, made the triangles. He worked so much, and my grandma was in our house. Like, so a lot of the cooking ended up being from the grandparents, I guess, because mom and dad worked all. It was 90s.
Right, yeah.
And I had a key to get home, and like they weren't there until dinner time. So luckily we had grandma kicking around, and
what do you want?
We got to eat, So we come home from school and she'd be like already cooking, which was great. So these ones, I think I'm gonna do this. So we want at least 6.
Okay.
And I'll get some chocolate here.
I've never dipped.
So we don't like to dip the lines because that's the bottom of the donut in my opinion.
Okay.
I don't know.
That makes sense. Yeah,
so that's nicer.
So that's a nicer.
So
all right.
I do like a little twisty.
Yeah.
And you want to be gentle or you'll squish the donut. Okay. So I'm going to get a bowl of sprinkles. But the problem with these, you get
I jumped right in there. Okay.
You get about 3 donuts, and then you got to give it something like that. Or the glaze hardens.
Oh, right, okay.
And then it won't hold the sprinkle. So I'm going to grab a bowl so we don't have to do it like that.
Oh my God, my first sprinkled donut.
Like this sweet old lady told me, your donuts aren't anything fancy. And they don't all look the best. But man, they taste good. And I was like, thank you.
Donuts don't need to be fancy.
I want to do old school. Sprinkle those down. And then I think maple dip's next. I'll move these for now. Donut.
Oh my God, I get to do this.
Poke a hole like that. Just don't go all the way through. Okay. And then just set it down. And if you can, keep the holes all in the same direction so you know where it is because they kind of disappear on themselves.
Okay, got it.
And then I'll get your pastry bags figured out. One in this hand, one in this hand.
Yeah.
And then I push
just them nice here, and gentle.
And you'll feel it kind of fill up.
Okay.
But it'll split on you like that if you fill up too much.
Okay.
Drawings of me doing like diner.
I have always low-key had a diner dream as well, and I would call it breakfast at Tiffany's, and it'd be like a Waffle House. Yeah.
It'd be amazing.
And you'd only serve brunch.
Yeah.
And then you would fill the waffles. Oh my God, can you step into the camera and show them what, did you make that marshmallow? Stop it.
So that's my big thing with the donuts.
Oh my.
And people ask a lot. They're like, oh, well, what's this? Where do you get that?
Yeah.
I don't get anything. I make, if it's on a donut, I've made it.
Did you, my eyes
I make the pastry cream, I make the marshmallow, I make the dips, I make the donuts, I make the jams, like if I don't make it, it's not going in my donut. I'm not opening a tub of anything because that's the thing I hate. It needs to be, when McLean does their strawberries, you have to use McLean strawberries. Oh my God, you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
It's like, and yeah, it costs more money, but you can't, and like the raspberry donuts are just basic. Raspberry, sugar, little lemon, simple.
Yeah. Sitting with the winds, right? Like
I can think about this all day long, but at some point you have to make some moves to figure it out.
Yeah. You just gotta
make your thing, right?
Jump and build.
I'm gonna do Tiffany's show. That could have been Tiffany's show on paper for a decade. 10 years from now, you go, man, I wish I did this at 37 or 30. You know what I mean? Like you're sitting there 45, being like, man, 10 years ago, this would have been a cool idea. But I don't wanna do that. That is something I gained from my job, is that life is absolutely too short.
Yeah.
And you don't know when you're gonna go.
No.
And how you're gonna go. And all these terrifying things that I don't want to think about. So it's like, I'm gonna do the thing I want to do because I don't know what's because
it brings me joy. Yeah. You know what? That is it. Life is way too short.
And you hear that. That's such a cliche thing.
But it is.
But it's like, man, so many people that I ran into that just like maybe didn't have the opportunities that they could have, or didn't reach the potential or whatever, you know, like I don't want to do that.
I think too, like the possessions, right? The Mercedes and and the coach and the, you know,
I did the opposite. I sold my truck to do this. You know, I was like, I need money. I got to sell my truck, which I loved, but I like this idea better. So I was like, well,
it's one of the sacrifices we make as an entrepreneur. It's like, what's next, boss?
These over here, and just keep plugging away on those because they take a little while to get ready. That's the other thing. I don't like being called a boss in this space.
Right behind you.
Because the donuts are in charge, not me.
The donuts.
Because like I have to do what the donuts need me to do too, right? Like they're running the show. Yeah. So this same deal, and then we'll just do like that, and then I let those set. They like to
Look
slide.
at those beauties. There we go.
Yeah. There's some hot chocolate ones, Jules.
This has been an awesome episode of the show. So for those that are watching, that may be feeling inspired, everybody faces doubt when it comes to chasing our dreams. Who doubted you, and what message do you have to share with them right now?
When we started building this, I didn't think I was going to get like a lot of hate. Who doesn't like donuts? But then there was some messages popping up. I was surprised that there was negative stuff that came with the positive. Don't waste your time pooing on people's ideas. But if you have an idea, chase your idea.
I love that.
Love it.
Yes.
And I'd be doing something I hated or that was hurting me if I didn't do this. So
absolutely.
Let's do this.
Mike Frampton.
Thanks for helping me make donuts.
Thank you so much. Come to Tragically Dipped. I'm here all week. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll take it.
Order the Tiffany donut, which is the Boston cream, by the way. Be kind, keep going. All that good stuff. I'm going to take this hairnet off. But it doesn't look bad. You know, this is my first hairnet.
They're not bad. They're not bad. They squished it down a little bit.
Not bad at all, yeah.
Born and raised in Peterborough, Ontario, I am very proud to call this great community home. 705-768-6278 or visit sarahevans.ca.
Not intended to solicit those currently under contract.